All right, hello, and welcome to the MLS Fantasy Insider. We're back with our regularly scheduled content. I looked for a long time for a gift to put that up there, like back with your regularly scheduled content, and I just didn't find like the right things. Like I had some sort of like old school Nickelodeon thing in my head of like "We'll be right back," or probably from like "You Can't Do That on Television" or something like this. So if you all are familiar with that reference, please let me know. It will make me happy. Like it's hard to say it make me happy because I don't know if did you guys ever watch that show You Can't Do That on Television?
Yep.
Okay, like
Exactly.
I did not care a lot for it when I was younger, but like now I find myself thinking back to it like fondly. So one of those sorts of things. So
My
that's
son's gotten deep into Tailspin.
ooh, I have got that one.
Yeah.
Has he gotten into like Darkwing Duck and
He did Darkwing and DuckTales first because he watched
okay?
the new DuckTales and he asked to watch the old DuckTales. Then that turned into it was like a if you give a mouse a cookie thing, right?
Oh,
Like
for
if
sure,
your
for
kid
sure.
watches new DuckTales, he's gonna ask to watch the old one. If he watches the old one, he's gonna ask to watch Darkwing Duck. And so now we're on Tailspin and he is obsessed and it's giving me mucho joy.
So I assume I don't have to share with you any other like vintage era '90s cartoons that I secretly have collected to show Landon when he gets older. Okay, we're gonna have to compare our lists though. We're gonna have to compare our lists for
Disney
sure.
Plus.
That's what.
Hey,
Okay. So I
just as
found a
long as
different route, but
just as long as Gargoyles is on both of your lists.
yes.
Oh, 100%.
I've got the Gargoyles. I've got X-Men.
Yeah.
I've got all kinds of goodness. This is not where the show's supposed to go. Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. The social is out on Twitter. The social is out on Reddit. Please be so kind and do share that. It's going to be a bit more manual going forward because I think sorry, that API changed too. The Twitter API stuff has really messed with my Stream Deck options, and so I may have to redo that or look for some workarounds, but it logs me out of Twitter every time and it's like, you're being hacked. Scrolling down for the chat. My chat scrolls up black and red. When people talk, it moves up. Is that not what you see? Are you on live chat? That's the question. Oh well. We'll see. No, we're excited for everybody to be back. Back to our regular content. I have hit the button, and so we are recording, and we don't have a big early section, so we'll try to give some recaps, focus on what's coming up this round 22, and then talk about our picks. So anybody in the chat, as usual, welcome to throw out the comments and just the general welcome back. It's good. It's good to be back, and some of this Leeds Cup shenanigans behind us. So it's all good, but we will get started right now. Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the MLS Fantasy Insider, our preview of round 22. This episode is brought to you by Messi Ankle Watch 2023. No. Actually, brought to you by our amazing MLS Fantasy Insider Patreon supporters. It's because of you that we are able to keep this project going. Thank you so much for what you do, and learn more at patreon.com/MLSFI. I'm your host, Reid Connolly from MLSFantasyBoss.com, and tonight I'm joined by my partners in fantasy, Ashley Savage and Blayne Riffle. How are you all doing tonight?
I'm good.
Yeah, same. Good to be back. Happy to talk actual picks this week.
That's right. You missed last week, Ashley.
It
Was. We are back to our regular content. So for those of you who did join us over the last 3 episodes, thank you so much. For those of you who may have skipped the last 3 episodes to come back for round 22, I get it. I totally get it, but I'm going to throw out one quick suggestion. We had some filler episodes just for fun, but last week, Blayne and I, and Ashley sent in some conversational pick topics, but Blayne and I did talk about some of our favorite new additions to the league during the summer transfer window. It was not it was not all-inclusive of that, just some of our favorites that we wanted to talk about. So there will be some overlap tonight with those players, but I do encourage you, if you're going to listen to any of our Leagues Cup content, check out that last episode, the one from last week where we talk about some of our favorite transfers. You might find that one particularly relevant to fantasy. The one before that's about some guy named Messi, but I think we're all on the same page with that.
Not a big deal.
Not necessarily as much, but yeah, last week you may want to check that one out for the summer transfer window. It's still pretty fun.
Can I tell you a note about last week's episode that I did forget to send to you both?
Absolutely.
Do you know the only team in all of MLS who did not complete a transaction this window?
Would that be yours?
That'd be the Seattle Sounders, ladies and gentlemen.
I guess you guys just
Strapped with that
think
DP
you're good.
money and stamming everybody down. Couldn't do anything. Only ones.
You just you think you're good. It's supposed to be confidence. That's
It
what you
does,
should
no,
be
it's not
oozing.
because we think we're good. It's because we literally don't have the money. Because we're paying way too many people, way too much money, and they're all underproducing.
So you're telling me that with all of that, they couldn't even go out and get Easton?
No, they couldn't get Easton. He's already tied to other teams.
Okay.
He's in Europe right now, for sure.
He's tied.
8-year-old in Europe.
They cannot do that. Makes sense. But no, yeah, check that out. You may still see some things happening. The free agent waiver wire doesn't end until September 2nd, I believe, something like that, early September. So there still could be some transactions for free agents, but you can head over to MLSsoccer.com into the transfer tracker, into all those records there. You can see everyone who's coming in. I find the overall transfers, I mentioned this last week, the overall transfer tracker easier because it breaks down by team for the entire year. So you just get down to the newer section, the bottom of each team, and you'll see the newer transfers. The transfer tracker page is fine, but it is set up more like the news page, and so every player gets a little article. So if you want in-depth, that's a great place to look, but I do find it a bit hard to just kind of skim through and look for some players right there. So, and you also get ins and outs on the team-by-team breakdown as well. So it's a good breakdown. But tonight, we are going to be talking about what's coming up for this round 22. We do have some of our regular sections, but I'm going to mention this a couple times, and so I'm going to start right now with a couple of quick updates before we just get into our early housekeeping section. Leagues Cup is still on. There are still 3 teams from MLS who are playing in Leagues Cup. That is Miami, Philly, and Nashville. So we're going to be talking about why almost all of those teams are not available in this next round, and there has been some confusion about which teams are playing. You will notice, depending on when you listen to this, but at least on Monday, as of this podcast, the Miami and Charlotte game is still listed, but it does say postponed. So don't make a mistake like some of us did with the early drafts and forget that that's postponed. So it's Miami and Charlotte are not playing for this upcoming round. Also, you may see Nashville listed as playing New England. That game has been postponed and is also incorrect. If you just head over to the MLSsoccer.com schedule section, you'll see the actual schedule. So it's all good. Sporting Kansas City is already not playing, so that's fine. But if you start looking through there, please do keep that in mind until it is updated that Miami, Charlotte, Sporting Kansas City, and New England and Nashville are not all necessarily Sporting Kansas City are not going to be playing. So that's a quick early reminder because I'm going to mention it multiple times because it has been a point of discussion. I've seen bunch myself and others this round. And yeah, that's it. So do you guys have anything else you want to say before we get into our housekeeping, just coming back from this little break? Silence.
I'm happy. Well, I was trying to see what tone Blayne was going to take before I came in with like a womp womp tone.
Respect. That's what that was. Respect. Respectful silence.
I think Leagues Cup is interesting. I think the financial aspect of it is the only thing that really makes sense. I loved the break from the stress of like, shit, did I lock my team right? Did I set my bench right? I made a joke that I feel like cut Reid to his soul where I said I was really excited because I got to go on vacation 2 weeks ago and I didn't have to worry about, did I set my team? Do I have to check lineups during my dinner with my husband type of shit, right? But this was a long break. This was a weird break. I kind of cared about Leagues Cup, but I don't know. I'm definitely ready to get back into the swing of things and finish the season out and stuff. So, yeah. What about you, Blayne?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the break. I'm not a fan of Leagues Cup. To me, the best thing about Leagues Cup has been it's basically preseason 2.0 for all the new transfers and trades and whatnot. Like that's been the biggest thing for me, especially playing draft leagues. It's like, okay, who's playing more in Leagues Cup? What do these new guys look like? And it's helping me prioritize my guys for draft, which, I mean, in turn comes into this game a little bit. I've got some guys that are higher up my list than they would have been otherwise because I've seen them play a little bit, and I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
but we talked about that last week, so I don't think we're going to go over most of the new transfers. If
Sure.
you're curious about names we've dropped, go find them in the previous video, previous podcast. I mean, we did some extensive coverage over pretty much all the major highlights and what could affect how we play the game. So it's all in last week's episode and it's out there, and I don't think we're going to double cover it and try to talk about too much of it tonight.
Yeah, no, exactly. That is not the plan. The plan tonight is to focus on the players that we are looking at going into round 22. But before that gets started, we will start, as usual, with our housekeeping coming up right after this. All right, so now you all have to bear with me as doing the social media plugs has become a manual process, much to my displeasure. Am I complaining enough to make that come through?
No. It's disrupting your life.
It is. It is not fun. Elon Musk.
And I refuse to not call it Twitter, and I will never not, and I don't care how long it takes, and I don't care if I sound like my parents. Won't do it. Hate change.
mean, I'm super rooting for Zuckerberg to do the whole overstock thing and like just wait for Twitter to fail, and then at the auction, Facebook or Meta can go in there and buy all like the trademark rights to it, and then just go and rebrand Threads to Twitter and just roll with it, just like Overstock did with Bed Bath & Beyond. I want it to happen.
Thank God someone saved Bed Bath & Beyond. So my coupons are still good.
I never thought about it that way.
The coupons don't expire, you guys. That's absolute lunacy.
And do this.
Explains a lot, though.
And then go here. Copy. Live, please. Live, please. There we go. Mute. And sorry, this is the behind the curtain. All right, there we go. So the social is out for... Should just copy and paste these next time and just have another window open. And there we go. All right, perfect. Thank you all for staying with us for that. Welcome back for our housekeeping segment for this round 22 preview video or recording for the MLS Fantasy Insider. I'm going to start with a throwback to let's set the pace. Let's set the level of our leagues. It's been a while since we've got to talk to you guys about our league. So just a quick reminder, in the Champions Pro Rel League, we have two teams tied with a record of 15-0-6, but it's sloppy stakes by points in that league. Ashley, what do you have for veterans?
Yep, as soon as you said that, I started pulling it up. It has yet to load, so why don't you ask Blayne and then come back to me.
Blayne, homegrown.
I just had it. I put it in the sheet. Manischewitz United is 4 points clear at the top of the table with an 18-0-3 record.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a sizable lead this late in the season.
Very nice. Ashley.
Ooh. No, yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. I was like, that has to be wrong because there's someone new. A fellow Sounder whose name is not, how do you see the whole name? Because it cuts it off. Sombrero FC is not in first anymore. It's one fry short of something, and Nelson can yell at me, and I don't know the team name because it cuts it off, and I will try to figure it out.
I like the suspense though. It sounds really good.
Yeah, has taken one. Oh, I'm glad because now you're really gonna like it. I figured it out. One fry short of a Happy Meal, but it's obviously spelled F-R-E.
Oh, yes.
You know I love puns.
I love it.
It's not as good as Hey Ricky, but great. So new leader in the Veterans League to go into the break, so that's fantastic.
So yeah, no, that's fantastic. I was just distracted by chat real quick. So yeah, thanks to everyone who's been playing. It's been super fun. We're going to be finishing up strong with the Pro Rel League, and yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying because we are going to keep it going. It's been super fun. I like having these 4 leagues right here. The Discovery League, we also have Hey Ricky, You're So Fine leading with a score of 18-0-3. Definitely a team name that we absolutely love, and I've been even more excited to see how well this team is doing, and that LA Galaxy are putting it on their scoreboard when they're highlighting their fantasy teams.
Not just their scoreboard. They put it on the scoreboard at the Rose Bowl.
There we go.
Amazing.
There we go. It is. I hope there were a picture. I hope someone took their picture of their team with like in the background selfie with that, because that's an amazing team name. One of my favorites over the years. So doing great in the Discovery League. Heading over to our other head-to-head leagues over in Discord, we have two teams tied with a record of 19-0-2. But it's, hey Ricky, you're so fine by points in that league. Over in the Patreons lead, solid lead by Rockanate's Folly with a score of 18-0-2. And then finally, the MLS Fantasy Insider Experts Invitational League, a super, super tough league right there. Black and Red with a score of 17-0-4. Has a pretty commanding lead on that pack. So you may be playing for second there, fellas. It's going to be good. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of round 22, which I know is why a lot of you have joined us tonight. And everybody is playing in one day. So this is still, as we've mentioned before, Leagues Cup's going on. It's playing Tuesday, I believe. That's when Leagues Cup is coming down. Nobody else is playing until Sunday. So games for round 22, all of them start on Saturday, August 20th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with our usual Apple spacing, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 games right there for all of you who like to line up your Aroos. There are no teams on a double game week. However, as I mentioned, there are 5 teams that are on a bye. So we have Nashville and New England, which you may see listed on your fantasy schedule. That is not correct. And as well as Miami and Charlotte, which you may see on your fantasy schedule, but should be saying postponed next to it. So those 4 teams are not going to be playing, as well as Sporting Kansas City will not be playing. At this point, I do want to add that I have been speaking with Skylar about the updates. He's super excited to have everything pushed out to all the we players, and he expects that the updates for new players who have come into the league, transfers within the league, and some of the schedule adjustments, with hope all the schedule adjustments, will be processed by tomorrow. That is Tuesday, depending on when you're listening to our show. So everything should be correct by then, but that should not stop you from still creating a team and having some fun, as we are going to be doing tonight. As far as switcheroo options go, between those 5 teams, you have plenty of options to set up ideal switcheroos. And if you want to be extra double sure, you can head over to the mega reference over at the MLS Fantasy and Boss Discord and just check out some of the players who are no longer in the game and are guaranteed to not play, even if it is a bye week. Who knows what crazy might happen. But yeah, check that out at MLS Fantasy Boss Discord right there.
Reid, chat's getting on us. Philly Dallas is also postponed.
Has that been postponed as well?
That's what Ranch is saying and everything, and I believe those 2 teams are still alive in Leagues Cup. So yeah,
Dallas is not.
Dallas is out. Philly plays Tuesday. I have not seen. I'm sure Tyler will tell us, but I have not seen that posted yet. It's still listed in the MLS game and the fantasy game.
I'm sure we'll be linked there. So as soon as we get that confirmation, we'll share it out. We'll confirm it on the show.
Just watch that if you're looking at those players.
There it is, rescheduled. Match rescheduled to September 22nd. Wow, that's deep down in there. So there we go. 2 more teams to add to the buy list for Philly and Dallas. That's only fair. It would have been very, very rough.
It seemed insane
to have had one team right there. Yeah. So whatever you want to do there, and that just makes it even more fun for how some of you may be building your teams for this week. So excellent. So we've already touched on the teams that won't be playing tonight, but we do have some injuries and suspensions and things that are going on. So Blayne, give us the quick rundown right there.
Yeah, little bit dealing with it. Click for DC United and Mavinga for the Galaxy both got red cards right before the break, so they're gone. And Washington and Pico for Nashville will be serving reds when they get back from Leagues Cup. Injury-wise, we've got some updates. I don't know if these were all out there beforehand, but I'm hearing Brugman, we've got knee with 3 to 4 months. It's pretty much season-ending. I've heard potentially ACL, not sure there. Brandon Bai did tear his ACL, and so he is out for the season. Ashley, do you have any update on Christian Roldan? We've got him listed as concussion protocol. I thought I saw him play in Leagues Cup, But
So he did play in Leagues Cup, and then he re-entered concussion protocol. So what I've seen is training on the side, making progress, concussion protocol. So I the last I saw from training was that Schmetzer had indicated that he should feature for Atlanta, but he wasn't committing to it. Same with Stephen Fry had surgery to he popped a finger out and he popped it back himself and he messed up his ligament. So they had minor surgery to correct it. Well, he played the rest of the game with it. So
yeah.
But same with him, they were anticipating a return, but not saying they're back and fine. So
yeah. Okay. And then other ones to keep an eye on, some names that have been popping up on our list. Vela is listed with a lower leg injury again. Carlos Heel's got a badly bruised knee. So keep that one. That could be longer than we expect. And then Pablo Ruiz for RSL, who has been in pretty good form lately, has also got a knee injury now. And then we talked about it a little bit last week. I think the news came through, but Taxi was officially terminated from DC United. So that cleans up their forward situation just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, missing.
Excellent. And of course, you can head over to the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord to check out all of the injuries and transfers and call-ups and whatever is going on at the Mega Reference that is curated by our very own members with a huge lift by Ranchinator himself right there. But you can find that at MLSFantasyBoss.com/Discord as the easiest way to go and check out everything and just get in the fun of the Discord chat anyway. But yeah, MLSFantasyBoss.com/Discord, and then just head over and look for the fantasy resources there right down on the side. So it's really fun. You should go check it out and use that resource. But that's what you're here for tonight, is finding those players, the tips about those players, and trying to figure out how to adapt to these now 7 teams who are not going to be available when we're coming back from this Leagues Cup break. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about after our quick break. Threw me off there. Oh, they just updated like 30 minutes ago for the Philly game? Don't they know?
No, I think he was saying he updated injuries 30 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one came out yesterday, so that's why it's so far down. Came out yesterday. Jeez, guys, don't they know we have a podcast that could have like given us a little update right there? So could have been nice. All right. Anyway, the Twitters. Back here, back there. Back here. Doing the no, don't switch accounts. Right here. There we go. And what is that? Oh yeah. Go. Trying to find the right tweet. Lord have mercy. Figure this out. There we go. It's the right one. Copy, post the Twitters, and copy, paste to Twitters. All right, there we go. There is the last social for the podcast tonight. Again, always so thankful if anybody would like to retweet that right there. And we will get into our final segment here. Okay, and welcome back to our player section for round 22. Again, please don't forget that we have teams that are on buys this week if the game is not updated. That is Nashville and New England and Charlotte and Miami and Dallas and Philly and Sporting Kansas City. So that's changed as our show has gone, or we found them all and weeded them out as the show has gone. So be sure to check that out. Also, as of Tuesday, the goal is for the players to be updated. So if we're not talking about a player right now, it may be because he is not in the list. But please do interact with us on Twitter or Reddit. Not Reddit anymore. Twitter or Discord. And you can go to Reddit, but it's dead. And let us know if any other questions that you have about some of the players coming in. And just be aware of who's not there, because we've got Leagues Cup. We've got 3 teams still in there. And it is messing with this round. So let's talk about who is here and how we're going to navigate 5, 6, 7 now teams being gone. Starting out with keepers and defenders, Ashley, who are you looking at?
Yeah, I like Red Bull, I think, going at home against DC. So I think time-wise, I'm considering going Cornell to McCarthy or Fry, if Fry's healthy. I kind of want to see those two LAFC and then Seattle lineups before deciding who to go with on the back end if I need to. And then defensively, I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm just going to own that now. Half of the players I want aren't playing for the teams in the system yet that they actually play for. First person I put on my team was Gressel. He went down in price a little bit for being gone and not playing, and now in Columbus, I feel like they've freed him up on that wing even more than he was at Vancouver, which was very freed. Like Blayne said, it's kind of like preseason all over again, where we got to watch him come in as a sub there. And do really well in Leagues Cup and contribute. He already got a goal contribution. And so I definitely think that that's someone that I want on my team this week. Even though, it sounded like I was bashing your team, Reid, sorry. But even though they're playing SC Cincinnati, I just like him as an out-of-position winger, in the defense. Same goes for Richie Larea. I think that he might feature for Vancouver. So I'm going to throw him in there and see what he can contribute on a slightly better, I'm going to say a much better team than Toronto. I like LAFC. I think you could go Palacios. I'll probably go Hollingshead, assuming that he makes the start. And then I'm just all over the place going back and forth between Yamar and Lennon, which is very much mixed messages. I instinctively want to do a Seattle defense when Seattle has a home game. I don't think Seattle defense has been as consistent this year as I would like them to be. Yamar still picks up bonus points. I think, with Gigi, he'll probably be the player on him, which I think could lead to more bonus points. But I also think Brooks Lennon on the wing could do a lot against that Seattle defense with offensive points. So we'll just see. I feel like I might decide that one, gut lineups as well. I don't love to pick against my team, but I do like to win in fantasy. So sometimes you have to. But that's kind of where I'm landing right now.
I think that's totally viable. Blayne, what about you?
Yeah, I'm a little different on my keepers. Soroy from Montreal is one of those guys I'm going to take a flyer on. I don't know that Toronto scored in like the last 2 months, whatever.
Well,
yeah, they don't.
Canada derby that didn't.
Yeah,
that
I don't care. Toronto hasn't did not score a goal in the month of July.
Okay.
This is a team that is struggling. It's one of those. It's on the front end. I've got more than enough money because I like McCarthy on the back end. And if I was going to go single goalkeeper, it would be McCarthy. I will take the flyer on Montreal, even though it's in Canada. That's one of those games. It's a rivalry. It's fun. But, I mean, Montreal just may put it to them, too. And it's one of Toronto is that bad right now.
For sure.
So I can't in good conscience vote against that. Like, that one, he's got to be on my list. That's probably the easiest clean sheet to look for this week, and so I'm going with it. Defenders, pretty standard, I think. Gressel's in there. He looks too good. Like we talked about a little bit last week, but Columbus is kind of going to a 5-back hybrid system. 3 center backs, both wing backs are able to push forward, and that includes Gressel playing more of that wing back. Lining up is a 3-5-2, whatever, but he's lining up in that 5, so he is pushing forward. I think he's got it. Also looking at an LAFC defender, it's going to kind of depend on what the lineup looks like and who's starting. And then I've also got Parker slotted in there as well. Austin's turning it around a little bit. I know they can score some goals, but Parker is a set-piece monster for them at times. I just feel like this is a good matchup for him. And then I'm also looking at, depending on what I want to do and where I end up with other players, I'm looking at Amundsen on the other side of the Columbus defense and actually doubling up on the wingbacks because Hell is Real is always a fun game, and I could see a lot of goals in this one. And I see both of those guys getting involved in the attack quite a bit this week. And I think it could be a time where if you don't trust the revamped Columbus attack, if you don't like looking at the midfield, which I don't know where the points are coming from right there, if you don't like what you've got there, this could be a way to pick up a lot of attacking bonus points out of your defense with the double up and maybe skip over one of those other players you're not 100% sold on yet.
Yes, for me, I think we've found or called the chalk for what the keeper is going to be with Coronel McCarthy. I think that's what a lot of people are going to look at. Just easy with the timing right there with some history of some good potential. Montreal, great shout out for a road team, but also going to give a shout out to Berkey. I do worry about getting Memo in the mix, as we talked about last week, with sort of how he could impact Russi. So not my go-to, but I think worth a shout out as well. I've had some good clean sheets there in the past. The only name that I'll add, I guess two names I'll add. Well, first I'll say I'm all over the place, guys. I don't have a Columbus or Cincinnati defender except for Gressel. Because I am looking at that offensive production, because I am not confident in any way, shape, or form of 2 or 1 clean sheet during this game, which means it'll probably happen, but I'm not confident about clean sheets during this game. And Gressel's the defender who I trust most to be involved in some kind of attack there. But I'm not even sure about Barreal on this one. Maybe he can make it in at some point, but Gressel's the one who I would have more trust in being involved in that. But I'm not leaning heavily on any of those players there. But the only other ones I would add are maybe Chihos against Orlando. Not an awesome matchup, but I think that's one you can look at. He's been a good bonus point producer in the past, and Chicago's been doing better under their new leadership there. And then give a shout out to some of the changes that Vancouver has made. Last game of the round, we know that San Jose gives up but can score, but they have some changes going on up front that we talked about last week that could impact potentially their flow, their mojo, their chemistry up top. So maybe going with Adekube could be one you go with. I know Larea also came in. Those are some new guys there, but looking for some of the bonus point generators could be a way to go there if you're looking for some differential options yourself. So I like a lot of those picks. And with a lot of these players from Leagues Cup and the teams that they were playing gone, it's really cut into this list in some way. So this could be a good chance for you to dig into those differentials, look for some guys who you may not normally go to, and to start this round out strong and maybe catch up in some of the points. Let's move over to midfielders, where we've definitely had some changes of faces and names coming into the league. So I look forward to what you guys have in store. Blayne, who are you looking at for midfield?
Yeah, I feel like I've gone really chalky this week, and we've lost some names. Like Gazdag was in my original list until we saw that game get postponed. Mukhtar was another one that I think a lot of people were targeting when they first saw the lineups or the slate of games, and now he's out. I feel like we've lost a lot of our differential premiums here. Messi was also in this, and now that game's postponed. Like, every differential we had is pretty much gone with the Zella transfer out. So for me, it's Lowen with St. Louis, Lucho in that one. Reynoso replaced Gazdag for me. He was one of the last ones in here. But I also wasn't looking at Minnesota when I first put this lineup together. And then I've seen what they've done in Leagues Cup, so I think he's more of a lock than he should have been. Herrera for Houston, and then Gauld for Vancouver. I'm just basically taking every premium that's still left and available. I know that's got a good home game. I know there's a couple other names that are going to be thrown out there that I don't know if I trust those teams. I don't know if I trust the form and the road situation. Like, there's some other good names out there, and I just don't know. And because he was kind of on my radar, and I don't see anybody else who had him down, Matan for Columbus has kind of taken over that 10 role. I know we're going to hear about it because Columbus is that team. I think they've retooled to not lose a whole lot with losing Zella. But I don't know that he's the playmaker. He's got that flash and that ability to replicate the fantasy points. I think Columbus is still a good team. I don't know if he is a good 10 in this system to be anywhere close to what Zella was. And that's a hard sell for me this early on after some transfers.
Ashley.
Yeah, we have a little bit of overlap here. I'm living in a delusional world that Skylar will break, where I want Rossi to be listed as a midfielder. And I started this by saying I'm living in a delusional world, but I want it because I don't want to have to pick Rossi or Cucho on the weeks. So I'm living in a delusional world where that's where he'll end up. And if so, I want him. I similarly like the Matan shout Blayne, but that's kind of where my mind was going is I'd like to see Rossi in that system. I'd like to see him with that team. I don't know if he'll be ready to play and start this week as it is, but if he's a midfielder, I'm going to lose my shit. I think he probably won't be. After that, delusional fantasy concludes. I'm also hoping that the low end of early season is back. I think that he could have a really good game against Austin at home. I think St. Louis is a team that's definitely had some good rest, is ready to go. As a road pick, I also like Lucho. And then I'm also putting Reynoso on my team. He's just producing so well. He produced so well in Leagues Cup. I feel like he had like 4 goal contributions in one of their games. He just looks really settled in the Reynoso of old. And NYCFC is a team that's not super consistent defensively. And so even though he's going to head up there, I think that he's a player that I want on my team this week. And then I'm also really considering Almada because I just think that he can just tear apart that Seattle midfield. And it's really painful for me to make that realization. I think that Gonzalo Pineda is going to come back into Seattle with a really, not an axe to grind, because like he didn't leave on bad terms by any means, but I think he's going to put a lot into that game. And I think if he puts a lot into that game, it's going to go through Thiago Almada. So I know there was like transfer rumors about him, but the bid that I saw was less than Atlanta paid for him. And so I can't imagine for any reason that would be a thing. So it's terrible, and I'm sure I'll get blasted by other Sounders, but it's a strong consideration for me, even on the road. Seattle's just looked so dodgy. I think that he could pick up a lot of bonus points, you know. And then the other players that are kind of weaving their way in and out of my train of thought is Gauld for Vancouver, and also maybe Ricky Puig. I don't know. I think that might be crazy because RSL is not that bad. But he was doing really well before the break. So I just feel like everyone I want to pick up this week is a road player. So I'm trying to rationalize that with Puig and Gauld, but I'm not sure if I'll end up landing with them.
I mean, Christian says Ruiz out makes him viable.
Thank you, Christian.
A little bit there. I like the way that sounds. It did take away a lot of the players that we're looking for to have these absences. Acosta, I think, is absolutely chalk this round. Without Zella anymore for Columbus, I do think you're right, Blayne. That does put a midfielder for Columbus very much in suspect right there for where's that production going to come from. Otherwise, though, both would have been chalk easy. And it's a pipe dream, Ashley, to think that Rossi's going to be.
I know. I said that.
I know. No. I'm just agreeing. I think it's a total pipe dream. We don't know. We don't know what it's going to be. I am also very interested in Reynoso on the road at New York City FC. Their crazy field, though, is always the kicker there. And don't forget, Maxi's back in the mix. Old man Maxi. So I don't have a lot of faith in him. He could be there.
Start?
He could. I have no idea, but I think it's worth pointing out that Maxi is back in that mix. But I'm not high on a New York City midfielder necessarily this week. But with the options limited, I could see maybe them being a fifth option, especially since crazy things happen at Citi Field. I'm going to mention that LA game as well that you talked about, Ashley, because I think Puig is a good call out. Brugman is out for the rest of the season, so that's a big loss. They did get Fagundes though, so seeing how that's gonna line. I know it's not like for like, but I'm interested to see what his presence does. I'm assuming he's going to be playing, coming in there, not just a depth or a bench piece, which he could very well just be that. Yeah, right, yeah, but I'm just curious in how that's going to work with that system and see if that opens up Puig anymore for to make him more viable for us. Because I'm not going to go with Fagundes right there. But on the converse side, over to that St. Louis Austin game, we talked about last week how we like Memo Rodriguez coming into Austin. Don't know how he's going to be used. I want him to be used in the field because he has always been great for fantasy. I don't know if that means he should be the one you go with, but I'm very interested in watching the game to see what his impact is on Driussi. And if he is going to be fantasy viable, if he is going to be a threat in some way, is that going to open up Driussi more than Fagundes was able to do when he was there? And so I have those guys on my list. They're not in my team right now. I think I'll also throw out Hector Herrera as a player, just from the historical, almost reliable, because he doesn't come through all the time, but he's been pretty solid this round. And going up against Portland, who I don't rate very highly, I like that. And Gald's was the second player in my team, so we'll go with that. Most reliable without Gressel, definitely one. I like his points. The wild and crazy one I have, because I don't recommend this involves doubling up on Cincinnati midfielders, but I do expect that game to be crazy, so maybe this could be a Nwobodo time with just the floor he's likely to have. Could be an absolute bonkers point production there. So if you are just struggling to like any of the midfielders, maybe he's a fifth, maybe he's a bench option you have with Nwobodo coming off right there with that crazy Hell is Real Derby that we're kicking off the round with, and I'm super excited about. Quick check over to chat. Let's see here. Yep, talking about Fagundes. Road Espinoza, Vancouver. You just mentioned that, Ashley. What do you think about Espinoza?
I think Espinoza's fantastic, but I mean, I don't know. Vancouver. It's tough because I feel like Vancouver is kind of a different team now, but before the break, they were a decent home team. And by that, I just mean they didn't lose a lot at home. Maybe they didn't always keep shutouts. The defense was hit or miss when people were gone internationally and whatever. But there was a point in the season where, like, defensively, they were a team that we'd, like, double up on. You know what I mean? Like, remember when they had, like, all those cheap defenders that we would all pick up every week and stuff?
And they did awful. The only one you ever wanted was Gressel.
No, there was Spencer had the Ahmed. He had for like 4 straight weeks, and he pulled, like, again, that was more towards the beginning of the season. But I don't know. I think that they made some good trades and brought some good people in, but they did lose Gressel. They still have a decent keeper. I just think on that turf in that stadium, Espinoza doesn't jump out at me on the list of road middies that I would consider picking from this week. He's not, like, it just didn't jump out at me. I don't think it's a bad shout by any means. He's just not going to make my list of middies when I'm already looking at other road midfielders, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It makes me uncomfortable to pick too many road midfielders.
His form and San Jose's form has not been great recently either.
It's had some really great streaks, but it's
he could go off. Like, I'm not saying this is a bad shout by any means.
Absolutely not.
But their last, they got 2 goals against the Sounders, but that was a team in a really bad situation. They got 2 goals against the Galaxy, and that was another one. And then you got to go back to June to find the other time where they actually put up kind of a respectable 2-goal game against Philly.
Yeah, but I mean, he's producing well, though. Espinoza, if you pull him from the team stats, he was producing quite well going into the break. So he was like a 14-8-9 in the last 3 games. So he scored a goal in the last 3 games. So I don't think that's something to turn up to. And one of those goals was at LAFC. So, and the other 2 were home games. But on the road, he's still put up some decent goal contributions this year. So yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think it's a bad idea. I think Cade Cowell's presence has made a difference for him. So if he starts, then yeah. But like I said, I don't think that that's a bad pick at all. It just wasn't a pick that jumped out to me looking at, as we come back from the break. So
Well, we're talking about Cade. We're starting to get into some forwards. So let's just move on into forwards and talk about the picks that we're looking at for this round. So Ashley, who do you like?
I like Cucho. I like Mwanga. And then I can't pick a third striker, and so I just keep going back and forth. Say the Minnesota guy's name.
No.
Halongwayne? Halongwan?
Sure.
You guys know him.
I have no idea.
Tyler would yell at me in some form or another. I like him. He looked so good in Leagues Cup. Honestly, he was looking good before Leagues Cup. But the combination of like Ray in form, Pookie, he's just popped like crazy. So I really, I just really like him this week. Again, I know it's a road one. He's the one that it's floating in and out. Mwanga and Cucho were set it and forget it. Third striker spot, bench striker spot. I'm going back and forth between him, Jordan Morris. Honestly, I'm considering, because I think I just like the combo of Cucho and him, Chicho at Galaxy, who aren't super great defensively, and he has looked really good in that position. I know Black and Red would say Savarino over Chicho, but you guys know that I'm a homer for Chicho, so he definitely hasn't come back with the bang that I thought he would. I mean, I know he scored on his debut or whatever, but and again, I don't know what is drawing me to all these road teams this week because it goes against almost everything I stand for, but I don't know. I just like I said, my third striker could be just about anybody at this point, so don't hold me to it. But Cucho Bwanga locked in that third spot. Could go a lot of places.
Blayne.
Yeah. Arango's kind of one of those guys I wanted to lock in super early, but then you see Ruiz is out, and it's like, okay, what happens here? Bwanga is the other guy that's locked in. Just that matchup is too nice to get away from. Colorado has been terrible. LAFC has been just tearing people up in MLS and outside of MLS. This could be another 5-6 goal game for them the way they're playing right now. And he's involved in everything. I think they had a 7-goal game in Leagues Cup, and he was on the score sheet 5 times, at least 4, 3 goals and an assist at least. They could do that to Colorado. This team is clicking, and he's the one getting the points, so he is locked in. Beyond that, it gets tough. I like that one dude from Minnesota that we're just going to butcher his name. I'm just going to call him H for now.
I tried.
His form right now in Leagues Cup is outstanding.
Yeah.
If he can bring that to MLS, he is better than Pookie at this point.
Well, Pookie just got here. Don't
I'm just saying. He's a better option than Pookie as a forward for this team. And I thought about Pookie first, and I like this kid better. I think he's on the U21 initiative or something like that, or the U22 DP.
Halongwane.
Good job.
There you go.
Sounds like a fun greeting, doesn't it? Halongwane to you. I like it. Christian told me how to say it.
Yeah. It's interesting there with those. I know people are like, oh, do you want to take Minnesota on the road? But Christian pointed out in chat when we were talking about midfielders, they're not a bad road team. They haven't been a bad road team this year.
And it's not at the baseball field.
Yeah. You're on a truly full-size pitch that you don't have to measure to make sure.
Yep.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah. I don't like New York City's defense. There's some names we like there, but I don't think it's a cohesive unit. I think there's way too much turnover in the midfield. Gabby Pereira is gone now. Even if Maxi's coming back, it's like what team is going to come out for New York City, and are they going to be on the same page, or are they going to be a giant mess? And if they come out like a giant mess, This is going to be an absolute rout, and I expect these guys to score. If I don't go with Arango, I may double up on the forwards and put both of them on my bench from Minnesota and just see who hits.
Oh,
Because
really anti-NYCFC this week, Blayne.
well, I have that feeling that game is going to be bad.
Sure.
I really do, and I'm struggling for honestly for a fourth forward at this point. I just don't know where to go. I don't know who I trust.
You can't have 4 forwards.
I knew you meant 3. I just was going to say it.
Or like the fourth forward on my depth chart.
Okay, that's fine.
Like
that's fine.
Who would
Blayne
be
is hacking the game.
Yeah, if somebody's an injury scratch, who do I turn to as my next one up? I don't know. I wanted somebody from Philly, and that's not possible now. So I may just sack it with both Minnesota guys and hope that both of them hit, but be happy if just one of them hits.
So yeah, Cucho Bouanga, absolutely the chalk right there. I don't know if you guys are trying to be nice or if you just really thought that's what I was going to do, but I don't have anyone from Cincinnati as a forward right here. I don't have Vasquez, and I don't have Bupenza either as a forward. I just feel like the better points in that game are going to be from Lucho, and I like Cucho and I like Bouanga better. But a Cincinnati forward could absolutely be your third forward as an option there for what this game could turn into. So
if I had a new forward as a Seattle, I would pick them.
So you absolutely could go with Bupenza if you wanted to go with that, or Vasquez. But that's the hard thing is all 3 of those guys are going to be in the mix playing. So it's not like this is the guy that is the go-to. He did get some points during Leagues Cup, so he is ready to go. Otherwise, I mean, there are definitely some other players to take a look at or think about. This is where I think Rossi will be. So you could double up with that if you really want to. I don't know.
He's going to start. Like I haven't seen anything to make me indicate that he's just slotted right in. I mean, I think he could because he was good enough when he left, but he hasn't been really playing much. You know, I don't know.
And since we're talking about
game, so I can't even.
Sure. Well, since we're talking about road players, you could also look at Savarino on the road against LA. Yes. We've not been high on their defense.
That's why
so, So absolutely. So you could look at some of those options there. But I think you guys have covered a lot of them. We have some new faces who are coming in. This is going to be a good opportunity to see some of how they actually produce, especially in that New York game right there. It'll be fun to see. I would love if Surridge was available. He was definitely one where I was like, yes, Surridge. Wait, they canceled. Rats. So that would be one I'd like to see. Right? Would love to see that. Well, let's wrap everything up with our captain picks. So, Blayne, who are you looking at?
I think it's Bouanga. I don't mind the forward captain. I know everybody else is like, oh, always a midfielder. With the way this team has been playing lately and the potential for a multi-goal game and just wanting to do something a little different. I mean, he may end up being the chalk one, and I'm just saying it first, and it goes complete chalk here. But for me in my position, I'm going for a boomer bust forward and hoping for that another 3-goal game. Get the Hattie here, maybe pick up an assist. It's against Colorado. They're terrible right now. I'm going all out on the big forward play.
Sure. Makes sense. Ashley.
This is always the hardest part for me when we do this 5-6 days before a game starts. Even more so,
it's the most fun
when we haven't even had a real game for most of these teams in a couple of weeks, right? I never mind that we share what we're going to do with everybody who pays attention to it, but the captain pick always gets to me on weeks like this. So I agree with Blayne that I think Bouanga is a sensible pick. I'm honestly considering Reynoso, and that's based on having watched him in Leagues Cup. So like if I think about last week or whatever, he's the most informed for me. That's on my team. LAFC have been weird. Danny Bouanga's been weird. He's still scored like they did a route and then they didn't. And then so, I mean, I still think that he has the ability to score a goal, maybe more than one goal, because of who they're playing. But I like you said, Blayne, I always hesitate to do a striker. He's been one that's been easier for me to do, but I just have this weird instinct about Reynoso this week, even though it's a road team and NYCFC aren't that bad. He's just looked so good since he came back, and he carried that into Leagues Cup like even more so. So if I'm looking at form, even away, I think I might throw it on Ray, but I think the sensible choice is probably Denis.
Interesting. So it's actually funny. I made my team, and of course, the game picked a captain as I was doing that, and it put the captain armband for me on Gald, and I went, yeah,
Sure.
okay with that. Yeah, that works. So
Yeah.
currently my captain is Gald, and I get I get the Bouanga pick. Acosta, I think, is another strong captain. I don't know that game is just going to be bonkers. I think so. It could be the forwards. He could get someone who gets shut down, or it could be Columbus's day. But right now, I like the bonus point production from Gald, and so that is where I'm happy to leave my captain pick. But don't forget, everyone, Christian posted the Discord player poll. We'll be retweeting that a couple of times or reposting that a couple of times. Go in there and vote and let us know who you were looking at for your player selections. And not necessarily even your team, but just the ones that you like. So budget's not a thing for this list, and neither is the roster size. So the players that you like, the captain that you like, put it right there. We'll get back to our regular content on MLSFantasyBoss.com and have that up there. So go check it out. Whew, it's good to be back to the old flow as we try to get back into our groove as well. But guys, let's wrap up with some plugs. Blayne.
Just want to plug everybody who came out for our filler shows. It was a ton of fun. A lot of good feedback for it. We decided to give you guys some content instead of just take the whole break off, try to keep it somewhat normal. I actually liked having the extra show for transfers and stuff, so thank you to everybody who helped and threw in some ideas for that one. It was much appreciated, and I think that was a huge one to get out of the way because this was one of the crazier and bigger transfer windows we've had in the summer in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's not just Messi.
It's not just Messi, which is crazy, right?
Messi is the cherry on top. Messi gets all the highlights. I think this was one of the best summer transfers for MLS in the history of the league.
Ashley.
I'm so excited for this one. I've worn it before, but I wore it special today. Ballard FC, local team, Seattle team, USL 2, went to their second USL championship game in their creation. They've only been a team in the league for 2 seasons. They went last year and lost. They got to host this year and they won. We took my son. It was so awesome and so fun. So shout out to them for going to the ship back to back and finally winning it this year. It was amazing to watch. So really cool.
Fantastic. Well, of course, for me, the usual boring things, MLSFantasyBoss.com for the articles that we'll be having coming back out. But most of all, head over to the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord for all of the chat and the tips and just the general camaraderie that happens over there. It was active during Leagues Cup. It's active right now. So it is one of the places to go to just chat MLS and just be around general people who enjoy MLS and aren't going to be jerks. Because if you're a jerk, we're going to ban you. We're going to get you out of there. This is a good place to be. So yeah, go check it out. Post your teams, ask for advice. A lot of the people in our chat and we ourselves pop in and out of there. So very helpful. Look forward to growing that through the end of this season as we go into the next one. So please can't thank enough everyone who helps contribute to that community. But it's good to be back. Again, can't say it enough. Be aware of all the changes coming up. Those should be getting modified at least by Tuesday with hope, fingers crossed, in the system that everything will be ready. But it's going to be a lot of fun come Saturday. And we're going to be right back in the hunt for trophies for some of us. Guys, right here. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do this. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, that's all that we have for tonight. So as always, good luck.